Hello everyone, this is Lamin Sane of LSWAT Apps, and in today's video we're going to be doing something pretty awesome. We're going to have a look at functions. Yes, you heard it, functions. Okay, so up until now we have just been using one big chunk of block of code to output stuff. So let's see where functions might come into play in making our work easier and help us not repeat ourselves all the time. So I'll just give you a couple of scenarios wherein you might want to use functions. So let's say we have a function that prints 1 to 10. So I'll just write it from scratch. So we have the exercise of being used to the for loop. So we have I starting from 0, I is less than 5. And guys, if you're not sure about the for loop, just ask me questions and do not hesitate, because I had some questions when I was starting out as well with this. So yeah, just had to put it out there. Okay, so using the for loop to print from 0 up until 9. Okay, so that's 10 figures. Or you know what, I'll just start this from 1 this time. So when it's equal to 10, so we're printing from 1 to 10. And let's say echo I, and put a dot there, string break tag, so it's on its own line. So back in our browser we should have 1 to 10 on their own line. And apparently that didn't work, so we'll see what happened. Okay, for I equal to 1. Okay, I is less than or equal to 10. Yes, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so as you can see, it's run from 1 up until 10. So let's say we wanted to write this output again. What we had to do is just copy this and paste it here. Okay, and just come over here and just say refresh, and yeah, that did work. Yes, we have 1 to 10. Let's say now your boss comes over and says, hey, could you print like say 11 to 20? So you have to come here and say 11 and then 20 here, then go back in your browser and then refresh, and that is very tedious. As you can see, it all did work, right? 9 to 10, 11 up till 20. But now what we have is 3 blocks of code that are pretty much doing the same thing. Well, they're all printing different things, but there's some patterns in there that we could make use of functions to make sure that we don't repeat that. Okay, and that's where functions come in. So how do you create and use a function? So to create a function, you just type in the keyword function, which is a PHP keyword, and then you type in the name of function. So let's say we call it print from 2, and what that means is it's printing from a given number to another given number. So a function takes 2 parameters or arguments. I can use them interchangeably, doesn't really matter. So you pass it 2 things. A function can take as many parameters as you need. Okay, so in this case we only need 2 parameters, so we'll give it start and it will give it end. Okay, but you need to know which parameters a function is being passed. There's something in PHP that lets you pass in endless number of parameters, but we'll get to that shortly. So in this case we know we are setting start and end, so when you're calling this function you must give the start and the end, or else it will give you an error. Okay, so let's refactor these 3 for loops that we have up here a bit. So right now we know we want to start from 1 in this one and end at 10. So we'll just call this right below the function, we'll say print from 2, and it will say 1, 10. Okay, so we'll just copy that again and paste it down here, and I will paste it one more. So let's just modify these. So again we want to print from 1 to 10, but in this last one we want to print from 11 up until 20. But when we refresh this, let me comment these out, refresh the browser. As you can see, we shouldn't expect anything because we haven't implemented what's in the function. Okay, so now we know the function does a for loop, so we'll just say for I equal to, so in this case we're not saying 1, we're saying start, because we know that whoever calls the function will give the start value, which will be stored in start here, and the end will be in end. So we'll say I equal to start, and we'll say start is less than or equal to end. Okay, and then we'll say start plus plus. Okay, so well, actually not start here, that would be I, and we'll say I plus plus. Okay, and we'll echo I in here. We'll append it to a break tag, and last but not the least, a semicolon. Very important, guys. All right, so now we've called the function 3 times with 3 different arguments, and then we should expect that it outputs the for loop just like we did for this. But just notice that this is much shorter and it's much cleaner and maintainable. So we refresh this. As you can see, it prints 1 to 10, 1 to 10, and then 11 to 20. So this is much nicer, guys. Okay, but yeah, just make sure that you use the functions in any different ways that you need, just because this was much easier because we knew that these things, 3 for loops did pretty much the same things. But in different cases, if for some reason they did different things, just create another function, say function, and say give it some other name, function 2 or something, and then just make sure you put your logic in there. So one rule of thumb, functions do not always need arguments as we did here. You can leave them empty, but when you leave them empty, just make sure that you don't try to use any arguments here, or else you will get some problems as well. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this introduction to functions. And in the next couple of videos, we'll have a look at functions with default parameters and anonymous functions as well. So I thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye bye.